Hi everyone, I'd like to share with you The Life of St. Francis by Thomas of Celano, chapter 20. In the 6th year of conversion, Francis sought martyrdom by traveling to Syria to preach the gospel to the Saracens, who were considered unbelievers, barbarians, and enemies of the church. He boarded a ship destined for Syria, but strong winds pushed him off course, and he landed only 100 miles away. But Francis was on a mission. He was not to be deterred. He secretly boarded another ship with his companion, trusting in God to protect and provide for them. A man, seeming like an angel, approached the crew and gave them provisions for the journey, telling them, "Use them in your time of need, but give this food to the men hiding on your ship." Another storm, worse than the first, forced the crew to exhaust their supplies. Turning to Francis, who gladly provided his provisions to feed everyone, even with enough to spare for the rest of the journey. The sailors knew and were amazed, and they realized God had saved them through his servant Francis. On his second attempt, God interrupted Francis's journey again, this time through an illness that forced him home. When he recovered, people came from everywhere to seek the advice and counsel of the man of God. Yet the fire still burned in him. It burned in him. He longed to preach the gospel, even at the risk of his life. This time he succeeded and landed in Syria, traveling to Egypt as the Crusades raged in brutal and savage battle. Francis knew war from his youth. Back then, it was for personal wealth, fame, and glory. Now, it was for the glory of God. He and his companion crossed enemy lines unarmed and were captured, beaten, tortured, and imprisoned. They expected death, yet Francis remained calm and joyful. When he was brought before the Sultan, he remained humble and confident, speaking boldly in the name of God and proclaiming the gospel. The Sultan was moved by this small, joyful man and welcomed him, not as an enemy, but as a guest. Francis and the Sultan spoke and realized they shared more in common than anyone expected. They both desired peace. They both desired God. They recognized each other as brothers. There was no conversion and no end to war as a result of their encounter, but something more profound happened. Both men experienced Manitoa and saw God working in each other's lives. Francis left seeing the Sultan and his people as children of God with a great love for the divine, not as barbarians, not as non-believers, or even enemies of the church. In the beginning, Francis set out seeking martyrdom, but God had different plans for him. He was guiding him towards something even greater. Across 7 years of storms, illnesses, and delays, God had prepared his heart for the moment he would finally meet the Sultan. In this encounter, Francis discovered that God's presence and his image are in every person, even the ones he once called enemies. My brothers and sisters, peace begins when we trust in God and meet others who we don't know, don't understand, and may not even like, but we greet them with humility, courage, and love, leading to human dignity. God bless you, and thank you.